In the last week, Grayscale's moved over 9,000 Bitcoin back into exchanges. The investors of their ETF, GBTC, are selling off their investment and forcing the company to sell off their Bitcoin in order to meet the redemption demands. The news on Tuesday spiked a 3% crash in the market, and we've continued downwards since, totaling an 18% downwards move from our local high of $49,000. In today's video, we're going to go over the short time frame price action to talk about the possibilities that we might have bottomed out for the time being.
Before we get started, hi, if you're new here, my name is Jess, and as the channel name suggests, it's all about crypto, trading, and technical analysis. So if you're all about that or you'd love to learn, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Alright, so diving right into that short time frame price action. This is a 1 hour chart on Bitcoin. This is the Bitget chart. You can use whatever chart you want to follow along if you like. I just like to use Bitget because that's where I trade. So this is what I was talking about on Tuesday. My Wednesday, your Tuesday, because I'm in Australia. This is that 3% crash here that we saw when we found out that Grayscale was planning to sell bunches, millions and millions of Bitcoin. And maybe even potentially a actual result of that selling behavior. So we see this 3% crash here, and we've continued downwards ever since, having a local low of $40,200. So what's happening on the shorter time frame? Really quickly before the price gets away from us, we tried to test this level of resistance here. So we're consolidating within this range for about 2 days, just over the weekend, I think 2 days. Yep. And what happened was every single time we tried to test the top of that trend line, or the top of this resistance range, and that's at 41,900. We had we had those signs of reversal. So we had a moving average flip, our trend lines were trying to flip, price action was going upwards, and we saw a top just below this resistance range at 41,850. Broke down away from that resistance, and then had a correction back to the upside, and what happened was we double topped. So for those of you who don't know, double tops are like really bearish. As soon as you see one, pretty much you can put your money into a short and you'll probably win. And so we had that double top formation, and we also had a hidden bearish divergence. So it differs a little bit from a classic bearish divergence, just purely because the trend line here on the RSI, it's on the bottom. So usually when we have a bearish divergence, a classic bearish divergence, we have an uptrend in the price, and then we've got that like downwards move from the RSI. This is a little bit different just because it's on the bottom, and what it shows us is, what it shows us is when we're trying to find support, every time we bounce on the bottom, we're finding less and less support, and we're finding like decreasing strength at those levels of support. So preemptively, you can see that like we were going to go downwards from here. We weren't going to keep this level of support at 41,500. And indeed, just this morning before I made this video, we lost the support. For those of you guys who missed it, I did make a post on my Telegram about this price structure and this price action. So if you want more information on Bitcoin and its price structures, feel free to join my Telegram. It's completely free. But anyways, continuing on, we have our next level of support, and that is at 40,700, and the bottom of this range is again that 40,200. So you can see why this range is kind of important on a 4-hour chart. We've tested it a couple times, going all the way back to December. Top of this range is kind of where we start to see those bounces, and that is that again 40,700, and we kind of wick all the way down, actually a little bit lower, so maybe 40,200 more on the dot rather than, yeah, so this is the bottom of that support range there. So on the short time frame, when I was planning this video, we hadn't seen this candle yet, but I think you can pretty much see right now that it doesn't really look like we're going to see a rejection here at this 40,700. We might see a little bit, we're seeing a green candle, but overall it's still looking really weak. If we do find support at 40,700, that would be great, but our next level of support is 40,200. So at this $40,200 level, if we don't see any signs of correction, so if we don't see an RSI uptrend formation, we don't see a slowdown of this downtrend, I guess, if we don't see any consolidation, we don't see any trendline flip, so starting with these smaller moving averages and our 50-hour moving average, if we don't flip above those trend lines, or for example volume, if we don't even see a decrease in bearish volume, we can expect that this $40,200 level is not going to hold, right? The next level of support will be 40,000 to $38,000, and that's our macro level support. So we can more confidently say that we will see a bounce there because it's such a huge level of support. It goes back for months and months and months, and there's a high likelihood that we'll bounce there if we do not bounce here. Really quickly jumping into a daily chart just to have a look at how we're looking macro wise. We are looking pretty unhealthy here as well, to be honest. We lost a massive uptrend. So this started all the way in November, and we broke that uptrend in that initial downwards move away from our local high at $49,000. So when we lost that level, we also broke below our 50-day smooth moving average support, so this trend line here. And so generally that means that we are, truly in a proper downtrend now. They are really lagging indicators, so generally you're halfway through the move before you even see that trend flip, but it is still a really negative sign that we'll see a big move to the downside. Last time we saw a break below our moving average, we had a 17% drop. Same with here, this was around 11% when we broke below this one, and 12% here. So every time it is a pretty big move. 12 and 18% moves aren't really something you see every day on Bitcoin. And so far we've already had a 13% move to that trend line and continued to make it an 18% move. So we could be exhausting here. It is a lagging indicator. So we could be, seeing signs of reversal here potentially. It's not really a sign that we're not going to see a reversal anytime soon. We don't have to wait to break above a 50-day trend line to know that we're going upwards. They're so slow that you're usually halfway through the move before you even see that trend line flip. But yeah, there's just another sign that we were going to continue downwards at this level here. On top of that, we also had a bearish divergence on the RSI, and that's that classical bearish divergence that I talked about. So we have a downtrend on the top of the RSI, and we've got an uptrend on the price action on the bottom of that price action. So again, you can kind of see that the price structure and kind of the macro charts were telling us that we were really, really overdue for this downwards move. This uptrend should not have held for so long, and I think a lot of that was because of the ETF news was kind of inflating the market. And if you have a look where we started that RSI divergence and where we started to, artificially inflate the price through news events was around this level here at that, short time frame resistance of $40,200 to $40,700. So again, this level is super, super important. I wouldn't really expect us to see 40,000 unless we do break below this.
Okay, so those are the levels that we should expect to bounce. So starting at 40,700, that's the one at the very top. And then we've got the bottom of that range at 40,200, and then most unlikely level at $40,000, and that's our macro level support. So while it's the most unlikely level that we'll see in this downwards move, we have the highest likelihood of actually having a bounce there if we do see it, because it's just so strong. We've had that level of support for months and months, and I think the basis of this move being, the grayscale selling and just a little bit of, confusion in the ETF sentiment isn't really enough to push us below a level of macro support. So now that we know what kind of levels that we're looking for, let's talk about the price action that we'll see when we have that correction to the top side.
Okay, so it looks like while I've been just chatting away, we have had a little bit of a bounce here. So that's at $40,700. That's that the top of that range here of support. So let's talk about where we'll see next if we do continue. So, the jury's still out on this move. It could just be a fake out. We do have a little bit of bearish divergence here. Again, that hidden bearish divergence. So we might potentially see a break back below this level here. We might not hold it as support. But as of right now, jury's still out. We'll have a look at how it goes. So yeah, really quickly, just take note, if we do break below that 40,700, we will see 40,200 because that wouldn't hold as a level of support. So, but on the flip side, if we do hold, and it does continue upwards, our next level of resistance is at 41,500. So that would be a resistance range that we're looking for to validate this move. So when we touch that level at 41,500, even if we reject, we can expect to continue to hold 40,700 onwards, because it held as a level of support to touch the next level of resistance. So that's if we reject here. Otherwise, we'll enter this range of resistance here, and the top of that range is at 41,900. So it's basically the flip side of what happened here. The same, what was previously support is now resistance kind of thing. So, and then after that, we have a small level of resistance. That's this one here at 42,200. A couple times we wicked to it, and it provided enough support for us to reach the top of this, parallel channel here. So most likely, if we touch this level and we break above it, we should see the top of this resistance range at 43,200. And at the very least, it might enter this parallel channel. The main level that we're looking to break to have a complete, I guess, reversal of this downtrend, right? So what we're looking for if we had a complete reversal would be a break back into this uptrend, this macro uptrend that I showed you guys on that daily chart. And to do that, we would need to break above this resistance range here. So this is a huge level of resistance. We were in this we were like traveling below it and testing it multiple times before we saw our local high at $49,000, and it still holds true. So the bottom of this range is at $44,000 and the top of it is at $44,500. If you zoom out on a 4-hour chart a little bit, you can kind of see this historical price action on this. So as you can see, we tested it a bunch of times, and when we broke above to $48,000, we found support on this level to touch $49,000. So it's a huge level of volume for Bitcoin. So that would be our main level of resistance that we're looking to break above to truly just invalidate this entire downwards move and continue on in our uptrend. So those are the levels that we're looking for in our correction. As of right now, jury's still out on this bounce. We'll have a look at if it continues to 41,500. If not, then that's our sign to look for 40,200 for now.
Okay guys, I think I'm going to end the video there for today. It was really weird talking about the Bitcoin bounce like as it was happening, but if you guys enjoyed the video or you learned something, feel free to like and subscribe down below. If you missed the start of this downwards move and you never want to do that again, I do have a free Telegram where I post daily Bitcoin price updates as well as crypto and economic news. If you're looking to trade this bounce and you want 15% off your trading fees, feel free to sign up to Bitget and BingX down below. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!